Hey guys, just a quick note. This is actually the second part of a two-part top 10 video involving unreleased Mega Man games. If you guys want to watch parts 10 through 6, click the annotation right there, right in front of you. If you're already caught up, just sit back and enjoy the show, because here are parts 5 through 1. Number 5. Mega Man Battle Network was a pretty interesting experiment at the time of its release. The idea of turning Mega Man into a tactical RPG was already crazy enough, but having the game take place in a separate continuity where Mega Man was a computer program instead of a robot, well, that was just absurd. Except, apparently, it wasn't. The Mega Man Battle Network series went on to sell pretty well, to the point where there were about 6 games total, not counting the different versions of each game. Between the interesting NetNavi programs, the abundance of battle chips, the human operators, and the childish appeal, the game took on an almost Pokemon-like quality. People were excited about the idea of commanding NetNavis to fight, collecting different battle chips, forming bonds, and Capcom was quick to capitalize on it. Enter Rockman EXE 4.5 Real Operation, a side game where you can experience the thrill of being an operator by indirectly controlling NetNavis and sending them battle chip data. Now, this game's a little bit of a cheat, because the game did actually come out in 2004 and is available for purchase in Japan. However, it's not really the game that's important, so much as what came along with it. Let me put it this way. You like Skylanders? Amiibos? Disney Infinity, maybe? Well, how would you feel about this kind of technology being applied to Battle Network? What if, instead of figures, you had to collect toy battle chips? What if you could buy a peripheral that could let you use those toy battle chips in the actual game? What if your NetNavi was semi-autonomous, so it could move by itself? What if you were actually an operator in charge of your own NetNavi? This is the kind of mentality that led to the Battle Chip Gate, a peripheral made specifically for 4.5, which let you use toy battle chips in-game. The gate could be retroactively used with Battle Network 4, as well as Battle Network 5 and 6 later on. But despite the fact that the gate became a huge success in Japan, it never saw the light of day anywhere else. Probably a good thing, given Amiibos are currently draining everyone's wallets. Number 4. Okay, so Rockman EXE 4.5 was a bit of a cheat. I mean, sure, the game didn't come out anywhere outside of Japan, but at least it's on the Game Boy Advance, which has no region lock. Aside from the peripherals, there's no real difficulty involved in getting your hands on the game, right? Well, how about a Japan-only cell phone game then? I apologize in advance if I butcher the name, but allow me to introduce you guys to Rockman-Itsumu no Shima no Daiboken. The title roughly translates to Rockman-The Great Adventure on 5 Islands, and not only is the game exclusive to NTT Docomo mobile phones, making it difficult to get, the game is also canon, making it a necessary part of the Legends narrative. It was released on February of 2008, with the story taking place between the first and second Mega Man Legends games. Most importantly though, it is single-handedly one of the most difficult Mega Man games to get your hands on, without having to straight up move to Japan. Luckily, there's footage of the whole game on YouTube, thanks to the ever-resourceful members of the Mega Man Network. In addition to that, members of the Facebook group 1000 Strong for Mega Man Legends 3 not only got their hands on footage of the game, but translated and fan-dubbed the whole thing by themselves. It's an astounding piece of work, and if you're interested in the game, I'd recommend checking out the fan-dub. It's not like there's any way to play it. Number 3. You ever wanted a Mega Man MMO? An MMO where you could create your own robot, go on missions, and gain abilities based on defeated robot masters? An MMO that didn't play like your standard RPG, but instead played like a side-scrolling platformer like the original Mega Man and Mega Man X games? An MMO that combines the stories from Mega Man and Mega Man X, and has your favorite characters meeting each other? Well, too bad, you can probably guess what happened to it.
Keeps happening!
Yep, there was a Mega Man MMO in the works at one point, and it was called Rockman Online. A massively multiplayer side-scrolling platformer that was actually being jointly developed by both Capcom and NeoWiz Games, exclusively for South Korea. The plan was originally to test out the idea of an online Mega Man game in a safe region, and since NeoWiz is based in South Korea, it seemed like a safe enough bet. Once the game would come out, they would see about releasing it in other regions after some sales numbers had come in. Clearly, that didn't happen. Animated trailers for the game surfaced around August and September of 2010, with the game having a planned release date of late 2011. Based on what we got to see and hear from NeoWiz, the game was supposed to take place sometime in the future of the Classic and X series, at a time when the characters from those series had long since gone away. The Maverick virus, however, couldn't decide if it wanted to stay or go. As such, robots are going crazy, and it's up to you to take them down and figure out what's going on. Unfortunately, the game kept getting postponed, until it was eventually cancelled on March of 2013. Surprisingly enough though, the decision didn't come from Capcom. It actually came from NeoWiz Games, although a reason for the cancellation was never given. All we know is that other cancellations weren't a factor in the decision. But, I mean, look, at this point, whether the game sucked or not, I'd just be happy if something came out.
Number 2.
So, you know how I was talking about how the Xbox version of the Mega Man X collection was cancelled, and how the collection kept getting delayed because they were supposedly removing extras, and before I could say why, I was all like, oh, don't worry, we'll be discussing that further down the list. Remember all that? Okay, now let's talk about Maverick Hunter X and Powered Up. Mega Man Maverick Hunter X and Mega Man Powered Up are both remakes of past Mega Man games. Maverick Hunter X is a remake of the first Mega Man X game, and Powered Up is a remake of the first classic Mega Man game. Both games came out for the PSP around early 2006, and both games were fantastic remakes of the originals, with fleshed out narratives, more playable characters, extra modes, basically a freaking mountain's worth of replay value. So, what's the problem here? Well, both games sold like crap despite high review scores, which wouldn't have been a huge deal unless Keiji Inafune had planned to remake the entire Classic and X series in the style of the PSP remakes and give the old games an overhaul to appeal to current audiences. Like I said before, no one wants to be subjected to this.
What am I fighting for?
But unfortunately, due to the low sales, plans to continue Maverick Hunter X and Powered Up fell through. Here's where things get interesting though. You see, all those extras that were supposedly removed from the X collection, rumor has it that Capcom removed them so that they could be used for the Maverick Hunter X series, under orders from Keiji Inafune himself. The remixed music, the updated voice acting, the better narrative, it's all present in Maverick Hunter X. But of course, there's no way to prove this without getting direct word from a Capcom employee, so it remains a rumor and nothing more. If this is true though, then it's kinda depressing, because that means that somewhere in Capcom's computers are a bunch of reworked assets for the X series that we'll never get to see.
Number 1.
You don't need me to tell you what's coming. Chances are you already know what it is. It's the most popular one, the one people still beg Capcom to bring back. The one that started this toxic relationship between Capcom and its Mega Man fanbase. Mega Man Legends 3. Once upon a time, there was a small offshoot of Mega Man games known as the Mega Man Legends series. This series wasn't very popular, nor did it sell very well, but it had amassed a small cult following, a group of fans that appreciated how different these games were from the standard Mega Man game. At a time when Mega Man games were nothing but side-scrolling platformers, Mega Man Legends tried to be a 3D action-adventure game. And it was pretty good, given it came out sometime before the quintessential 3D action-adventure game, Ocarina of Time. Unfortunately, there are only a few games in the Legends series. The last localized release was in the year 2000, and the game ended on a cliffhanger that has never been resolved. Fans have had time to come to terms with the fact that there wouldn't be a resolution. After all, the popularity and sales of the Legends series were never the greatest. But suddenly, on September 29th, 2010,
皆さんが期待しているタイトルであるのは確かです。何に期待してますか？
Can't hear you. What is that?
Thank you.
holy crap, they were going to do it. They were going to go back to a series that hadn't gotten a new game in 10 years and give it a sequel. Better yet, the creators seemed legitimately passionate about it. And to add the cherry on top, development of the game would be open to the public, so fans could provide input on the development process. This was big. Even if you weren't a Legends fan, this was a big deal. A multi-million-dollar game company was opening its doors and allowing fans to contribute to game development. Not to mention, the fan involvement made said fans have a stake in the game's success as well. Contests were held, different character designs were voted on, boss designs were submitted by fans. Even if it wasn't perfect, it was an amazing melding of minds, and it could have set a new standard for open game development. But of course, we know how this story ends. On July 18th, 2011, the game was officially cancelled. And honestly, this isn't as surprising as most people think. With open game development comes the danger of fans getting invested in a project before it's even greenlit. Capcom warned the fans plenty of times that the game could have been cancelled at any time, and had the development not been open, we would have probably never even heard about the game at all. The problem with this cancellation, however, is the fact that Capcom didn't stop there. At every point after the game's cancellation, Capcom came off as if they were doing nothing but baiting their fanbase. Explanations for the cancellation were not given for the longest time, and when they were, there was conflicting information. The most popular instance of this baiting is when Capcom UK straight up blamed the fans for the game's cancellation, with the company publicly apologizing after the tweet sufficiently pissed people off. But the problem was, the apology did nothing to soothe the fans, because the trust was gone. Mega Man games were being cancelled left and right, and Mega Man cameos were all over the place despite there not being any games. All the while, Capcom stayed uncharacteristically silent about everything, telling fans that Mega Man wasn't gone but providing no evidence of it. And now, here we are. Mega Man Legends 3 represents everything that's wrong with Mega Man right now. It's the game that painted Capcom as the bad guys of the video game industry, and the game that turned the Mega Man fanbase into a bitter collective that have probably coined the term Crapcom at this point. It's the game that started this chain reaction of recent cancellations, the game that represents how Capcom doesn't know what to do with one of its major mascots. The ultimate irony, though? This game would never have become this popular if it hadn't been cancelled. Are there more unreleased Mega Man games out there? Probably. Is this the definitive list of unreleased Mega Man games? No. This video was mostly to bring attention to what I thought were interesting stories regarding unreleased Mega Man games. And given how difficult some of this information was to obtain, I figured there would be some merit to compiling all of these stories into one easy-to-access package. The important thing to remember, though, is that this isn't meant to take a stab at Capcom's mishandling of Mega Man, although that's definitely a perk. This is simply a look back, a compilation of some of Mega Man's low points so we can look forward to some new high ones. Like I said before, things are finally looking up for Mega Man. So maybe now we can stop looking at these cancellations as bitter reminders of better times, and instead start looking at them as proof that, no matter what happens, Mega Man will never truly die. You know, assuming Capcom stops canceling Mega Man games. Hey guys, a couple of quick announcements. First off, I'm going to be at SGC this year, from July 17th to the 19th in Frisco, Texas. If you happen to be around, come say hi. I'd love to meet you. Second, I've started a gameplay channel on the side, mostly so you guys don't get too bored waiting for my next analysis to come up. It's the middle annotation and we're playing some Splatoon and original Fallout, so go check it out. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, yada yada. Got some annotations up there for you if you want to watch more stuff, and my various usernames on social media if you want to follow me around. Anyway, this is Super Games Buster, and I'll see you guys later.